Hello, buddy. All right. Welcome to the Mikestand. Today is, of course, Wednesday, March the 5th, 2025. Hopefully, everybody's having a good week thus far. Of course, with this being Wednesday, this is Hump Day, of course. So, hope everybody's getting over the hump uh, pretty well today as we get closer to the weekend. Of course, going to give it a few minutes, give people a chance to come in. Give you a chance to come in before we get started. Um, let's see. Of course, a friendly reminder that if you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we get some more friendly people in here to engage, that'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions the best of my ability. So let's see now. Yeah, so here in California, George, we got it raining here in Southern California right now. Well, it's been raining, it's sprinkling right now. So, um, we're still getting through winter. We're still in the last links of winter here, basically. I think we should be, officially into summer in about another 17 days or so, I guess. So. All right, so let's see now. So we're at 2 minutes here. We just yeah. So yeah, I actually did try to watch some cartoons today, even though I was a little bit more tired out here. Of course, one of the cartoons I was watching a bit was I haven't got a hat from Warner Brothers from the Merry Melody series that would mark the first appearance of Porky Pig and Beans the Cat, among other characters. Basically the Warner Brothers answer to the Our Gang live action shorts of around that same time period. So let's see. All right, we're coming up on 3 minutes here. So here's what's on tap tonight. Got a couple articles, one from Bounding into Comics, one from Bleeding Fool. The Bounding into Comics one revolves around, of course, the Power Rangers. Um, Talking about Hasbro and Playmates launch Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition. New line will see AI used to enhance original series in hopes of creating a new generation of Power Rangers fans. So there's that one, and then also um, on the as we then over on Bleeding Fool article talking about how Dark Horse Comics is looking to, I guess, dump their digital stuff. So we'll look into that a bit. Plus, of course, we have the wrestling wrap up. We'll get caught up on last night's NXT results, as well as look ahead to tonight's AEW Dynamite. Um, and of course, this will be the go home Dynamite before this Sunday's Revolution pay per view. Also, finish things off with this day in each history. And let me just do a couple of things here. All right, so let's see one last thing here before we get started. Let's see. All right. So, anyways, okay. So why don't we go ahead and get started then on the material here? Do one last thing here. All right, so with that, let's go ahead and get started on the articles then. Yeah, of course, the first one that we talked about. All right. Hasbro and Playmates launched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition. New line will see AI used to enhance original series in hopes of creating a new generation of Power Rangers fans. All right, so let's get into this article by Spencer Cooley, published March 3rd, which of course was on Monday. All right, so as the overall franchise continues to suffer a slow and painful death akin to those of the original Dinosaurs, Hasbro and Playmates have announced that rather than producing a new series or revisiting literally any other Ranger squad, their new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition initiative will instead see them make yet another attempt at endearing the titular team to a new generation of viewers. Hmm. Well, I mean, if they keep if the thing is, if you keep trying to reboot the original series, the problem with that is people are going to get fatigued with that. That's gonna people are going to get tired of that pretty quick if you just keep doing the same thing over and over again. It gets a little redundant. Suffice to say, the past few years have been exceptionally rough for the U.S. adaptation of Super Sentai. Between Hasbro selling the franchise's entire toy production rights to Playmates due to a lack of profits, the collapse of Boom Studios' various comic series into a single alternate reality reboot, the cancellation of the young adult oriented Netflix reboot, and the complete liquidation of its costume and props, Power Rangers is no longer the multi-generation hit once was. Instead, barely hanging on as an all but officially dead brand. Hmm. And considering it did have quite a long run too, when you think about it. Hmm. But rather than seeking to right the ship by actually addressing any of the Power Rangers fan base's long-standing complaints, such as the franchise's tired obsession with the Mighty Morphin team, or the anti-tokusatsu sentiments of those in charge of its production, Hasbro will instead be seeking to restore power to the morphing grid by, you guessed it, once again focusing their marketing efforts on Zordon's first recruits. It's kind of funny too because the English actors, right? The English actors who first portrayed that team, for those who are still alive, probably in their they're probably by this point in their early 50s, right? We know that both Dewey Trang, who played Trini, and Jason David Frank, who played Tommy, have both since passed on. Um, and the others are, Billy, I think Billy or David Yost, Walter Jones, Austin St. John, and Amy Jo Johnson are all, I think, in their early 50s now. So, as revealed during the recent 2025 New York Toy Fair, per an on the ground report from the Montyverse YouTube channel. Host and proprietor Pat Monty Buffamonte. Playmate's debut, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reignition line, aims to bring the franchise back into the public consciousness with a variety of new toys, including a combinable set of dinosaurs. So I guess what they're trying to do is they're taking advantage. They're basically they have all the individual dinosaurs, and then they'll also have turn them into the jet salt form or the combined form. A line of apparent Lightning Collection quality figures. And new versions of the classic auto-morphing figures, which as an aside, in parentheses here, which as an aside, thanks to their having more detail and their limbs being kept proportional to their standard bodies, instead of their expanded chest, look objectively worse than the originals. Unparentheses. Are automorphin figures. But more than just new toy releases and reissues, the Reignition Initiative will also see Playmates uploading an AI-enhanced edition of the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series to both YouTube and Netflix. So they're going to add AI to the probably to get I don't know why they'd be adding AI to it, but according to reps, as recapped by Buffamonte, quote, the goal of Reignition is to build a new generation of Power Rangers fans, and this is another step towards that, unquote. So the thing is, they're at least trying to, they're trying to get a new audience in there, but I don't know how, basically, because obviously this was obviously something that was targeted towards, let's say, early teens, obviously, the 10 to 30, middle school crowd, most middle school to high school crowd, how they might feel about trying to watch it, especially with how everything's gone on here in the States. However, said Playmates reps did not provide any specific details as to just what AI enhancements they would be making to the team's adventures. In other words, it's unknown whether the final result will be more akin to the 2010 re-release, which added various new visual and audio effects, or something like Paramount's recent I Love Lucy Blu-ray release, wherein AI was used to quote-unquote touch up the original recordings so much that everything was left look like an uncanny valley set fever dream. Okay. And again, if you guys haven't already, you guys can help out by liking and sharing the stream. See if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. So, like that then. We continue on here. At present, Playmate's new line of Power Rangers toys will begin hitting store shelves this fall. Meanwhile, only the first season of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers has been fully confirmed to be receiving the AI treatment, with its new edition reportedly set to release sometime this July. Well, I mean that kind of makes some sense too. I mean, because why would you do the whole thing, you know, if if it doesn't work out, right? You at least do the first season, you know, see how it goes, and if you accomplish the goal you set for yourself for it, then you go back and add more to it as time goes on. However, Buffamonte does note that there will be, in quotes here, more to follow at a later date. For the full look at the upcoming Reignition Line's offerings, readers are encouraged to check out either the Montyverse's Twitter feed, or as even he himself recommends, his fellow Power Ranger content creator No Pink Spandex, his Instagram account. All right, so there we go with that one. So now we'll move on to the next article here over on Bleeding Fool. Let's see where we at time wise. Okay, well, not too bad. All right. I think this one was under quickie, as I understand it. All right, so let's see what we got here. So Dark Horse Comics to dump digital shop and app at the end of March. Article by Avi Green published today, March 4th, or yesterday rather, March 4th, 2025. So let's take a look at this. The Verge announced that Dark Horse Comics online service will be closing at the end of this coming March. And this is from the article from the Verge here. The Dark Horse digital service is being shut down. As part of that, the Dark Horse Comics iOS app will no longer be supported. According to an announcement, Dark Horse Comics says people should download comics they purchase by March 30th, as it will end support for its iOS app and the standalone Plants vs. Zombies comics app the following day. I'm going to go off camera here for a quick moment. I'll be right back. I'm going to put some music on while I'm done. All right, I'm back now. So let's see. Let's get back to the article here. All right, so you can still visit the Dark Horse digital website if you make an account before the deadline to read the comics you bought, but only through, quote unquote, at least summer 2025. Company says in an FAQ, frequently asked questions. You can also sync your website account with the app to download issues according to the announcement. So, and then here's Avi here. They say their products will still be available on digital sources besides their own, but this suggests their comics weren't selling well enough even digitally to matter. And if the prices are expensive, even for digital comics, that's discouraging. So sorry if their own service didn't work out, but they're also selling PC products. Um, so it can't be surprising when nobody's interested. Hmm. A little dig by Avi there at the end of that. So, anyways, well, that one went pretty quickly. I'm gonna see if we can try to see if anything new has popped up in the last since I made these choices earlier. And I'm gonna. Hmm. All right, so let me see. I'm just, and don't mind me, folks. I'm just looking to see what else might be available here. Let's see some of the other things I follow here. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I guess we are have hit a bit of a lull this week. Well, the middle of the week here. Let's see. Hmm. 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 One of the live action series, anyways. Don't mind me, folks. I'm just kind of trying to see if I can find anything. If not, then figure out something here. La dee dee da dee da, la dee dee da dee da. Mm-hmm. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Hong Kong Fooey, number one super guy. Hong Kong Fooey, quicker than the human eye. Chitty chong, chitty wong wong wong. Hong Kong Fooey, that's terrific. Yeah, I guess things are a little slow right now. So, all right. So, anyways, so guess we're done with the article. So let's see now. What can I talk about at least for a few minutes here before we actually get into looking back and looking at getting to the wrestling wrap up here. Hmm. All right. So, anyways, let's see. So, what can I talk about here? All right. So, as I said earlier today, I did watch some. I didn't get through as many because, of course, I had other stuff going on today. But got through at least 5 cartoons. I talked about, of course, Haven't Got a Hat, which, of course, was the debut of Beans the Cat and Porky Pig. Kind of funny because we talked about Porky quite a bit about last week. Started out as a side character, sidekick. Then he became a feature, his own feature character, and then of course they basically and basically they they kind of made kind of turned it was turned around and made into made into hmm, there we go. That's probably what it was. I didn't realize that's what I did there, but hey. But anyways, yeah. So, and then he went back to being kind of a sidekick character primarily for Daffy Duck. Um, we also talked about like his original voice actor Joe Doherty. They brought him in because I think Fritz Frayling at the time had actually wanted to try to. I don't know if it was him or Tex Avery, one of the two, wanted to bring in somebody who actually had an actual stutter. Had an actual stutter to do the voice. But the problem is that when once Porky became so popular that he got his own feature, that put more stress on Joe Doherty to perform, and his stutter became so pronounced that it ended up getting him fired because it'd take too long to do the scenes at that point. Some of the other cartoons that, of course, we saw a Scrappy cartoon from Columbia, Rainbow Parade from Rainbow Parade cartoon from Van Buren, from RKO Radio Productions, Terry Toon. So, like I said, got through 5 of them. All right, so we're past half-hour mark now, so I think I will go ahead and move on to the wrestling wrap-up here. Is of course the first thing we're going to look back. We're going to look back to last night's NXT, as the opening match saw Sol Ruca and Zarya defeat WWE Women's United States Champion Chelsea Green and Piper Niven in 10 minutes 11 seconds. Then you had Jada Parker defeating Kalani Jordan, and then Jordan Grace defeated Cora Jade by referee's decision. Now, what happened here apparently at the 7:35 mark, I guess Cora Jade, it was reported she may have gotten injured, she may have hurt herself during the match, because during the match, I guess the ref had to put up the X sign. That's a sign that they got legitimately hurt. They got legitimately injured. So they had to stop the match. Which, of course, leads into some other issues, too, because with everything going on with the WWE and with the NXT and TNA crossover, Cora Jade is scheduled to take on Masha Slamovich at next Friday's Sacrifice for the TNA World Knockouts Champion. So that might be up in the air because of her injury here. And they were also talking about why Stephanie Vaquer, is not on the main roster. Stephanie Vaquer herself had said the reason that she's not on the main roster because she felt she had to spend some time down in NXT to learn things like English. She needed to learn more English. So she felt like maybe she should go down to NXT they actually gave her the option of whether or not to either go down to NXT or go on the main roster. She chose to go to NXT, which may have been a better choice in terms of, giving her time to kind of develop and learn some things, and then after the Jordan Grace Cora Jade match, of course, Trick Williams defeated Kale Dixon in 9 seconds via referee's decision. And in a match for the WWE NXT North American title, Shawn Spears defeated Tony D'Angelo to become the new North American champion. So that's all that went down on last night's NXT, of course. Now, one other piece of WWE news, interconnected to NWA, is coming up on May 17th. The National Wrestling Alliance will be having its Crockett Cup event. And at that event, it's scheduled that Natalia from WWE will actually be wrestling on that event. So Natalia will be wrestling at an NWA event, even though she's a contracted WWE superstar. So, and the Crockett Cup at this point has become like probably the number 2 big event for NWA, with the anniversary show being the number 1. So if the NWA anniversary show is the NWA's WrestleMania, right, then you might argue that the Crockett Cup is probably the Royal Rumble, right? So with that, so that's all the WWE news we have for you. Now let's look ahead to tonight's AEW show. We look ahead to tonight's Dynamite, which will be the Go Home Dynamite before this Sunday's Revolution, to see where things stand in terms of what's going to be happening this Sunday. I do know that on tonight's Dynamite, they're going to have the contract signing for the Swerve Strickland Ricochet match, which has now been declared a number 1 contendership match for the AEW World title. And also on tonight's card, you have an eight-man tag team match in which Powerhouse Hobbs will be teaming with Will Ospreay and the conglomerations Mark Briscoe and Orange Cassidy to take on Brian Keith and the Don Callis family members of the Murder Machines, Lance Archer and Brian Cage, and Mark Davis. In a women's tag match that's been set up over the last couple weeks, Megan Bayne teams with Penelope Ford to take on Chris Statlander and Thunder Rosa. Thunder Rosa being the former AEW World Women's Title, and Chris Statlander being the former AEW TBS champion. Let's see. Then you also have, as he continues his mission to try to get the rest of the Death Riders out of the way, Cope will be taking on Wheeler Yuta, to where he can get Jon Moxley one-on-one at Sunday, not have to worry, as he's already taken out Pac and Claudio Castagnoli. And then, of course, last week, Will Nightingale apparently took out Marina Shafir. And then in a tag team title match that was somewhat set up over the weekend at this past weekend's Collision, because AEW Continental Champion Kazuchika Okada teams with Ricochet to take on Brody King and Swerve Strickland. As we mentioned a few minutes ago, Ricochet and Swerve Strickland will be taking each other on in a number one contenders match for the AEW World title. And Kazuchika Okada and Brody King had a confrontation at this past Saturday's Collision. Initially, starting off with apparently Okada feeling disrespected by King when he entered the when King entered the building and just kind of went by him, didn't even acknowledge him. Okada, Now Okada, of course, back at Grand Slam Australia, defeated King's teammate and the Hounds of Hell teammate, Buddy Matthews, in defense of the Continental title. So this could potentially be a setup to set up a possible Continental title match at the Sunday's Revolution between Brody King and Kazuchika Okada. There's also been some talk that if Okada still, if as we were mentioning earlier, one of the other things we're talking about is one of the matches set up for this Sunday's Revolution is Konosuke Takeshita of the Don Callis family defending the international title against Kenny Omega. There's been some talk that if Omega wins that match, they might try to set up a match between Omega and Okada to unify the Continental and International titles. Now, theoretically, that could mean that by merging them, they may make the belts. They may make those belts the Intercontinental Championship. AEW's, I guess, version of the Continental Championship, as it were. So, but with that being said, of course, so we're at the 41-minute mark now. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to now move on to the This Day in Each History segment, as today is Wednesday, March the 5th, 2025. We're going to take a look back at this day in each history. So let's go ahead and let me just take a quick peek here. 1985, 2005, 1995, and 2005 again. All right. So first off, I'm going to head back 40 years ago, as on this date 40 years ago today, back in 1985. The 400th issue of Pep from Archie Comics went on sale on this date back in 1985. Sold for 65 cents. Wow, 65 cents. That's still pretty low 40 years ago. So when some of us were kids, I was around that time. I was like 9 years old. 65 cents compared to what comics are now. That's quite a bargain, wouldn't you say? 32 pages. Pep 400. Of course, written by Frank Doyle, with penciled by Dan Esticarlo, James DiCarlo doing the inking, lettering done by William Yoshida, and Barry Grossman doing the coloring. So, 400th issue of Pep went on sale on this date 40 years ago today. Now, moving ahead to 1995, which was 30 years ago today. Take a look at that. On this date, 30 years ago today, in animation, in a crossover episode, The Simpsons: A Star Is Burns premiered on its first broadcast on Fox. It served as a crossover with The Critic, and guest stars John Lovitz and Maurice LaMarche. Matt Groening heavily criticized the episode, feeling that it was just an advertisement for The Critic and that people would incorrectly associate the show with him. Because of this, he was uncredited in the episode. So that's he wasn't too happy with it. He wasn't happy with his creation being used to promote another show, I guess. So, but that happened 30 years ago today. A Star Is Burns premiered on Fox on this date 30 years ago. All right, so now, moving on to the next piece in each history. We move ahead to 2005. On this date in 2005, on this date in 2005, as soon as I get down to that, Jay Lethal would defeat John Walters for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship on this date back in 2005. So on this date in 2005, Jay Lethal defeats John Walters for the Ring of Honor Pure Championship. And finally, 2005 is just so nice that we're going to hit it twice. And also on this also on this date in 2005, which is 20 years ago, Toei Animation's One Piece Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island premiered on Japanese theaters on this date back in 2005. It was, of course, the 6th animated feature film in the One Piece film series. So, it's considered one of the darkest of the One Piece films, exploring themes of death, grief, mercy, and sacrifice. Now, mind you, One Piece in general, the uncut version, is kind of a more of a, you would say, somewhat of a more mature. I mean, you have people bleeding, you have people getting hurt. These are pirates for crying out loud, and you do see a lot of it even in the main series. So, but with that, I all right. So with that being said, I thank everybody for being here tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed the show. We're back here tomorrow night with more neat news. Of course, I'll have Rick Piper on with me tomorrow night, and we will, or not tomorrow night, but on Sunday, when we'll be looking back at comics that went on sale in May of 1940. We'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Marvel. So we'll be continuing looking over the Human Torch Submariner crossover, Battle of the Century. So with that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.